Hello explorers, so the Krait and also 3.1 in general. It's always exciting when a new ship is added and I find myself always lured back to the bubble to eagerly outfit it. This time I had to actually live through the engineering because previously I was lucky enough to have an abundance of materials left over. Having played the game very little over the last few months, and basically all I've been doing is exploring and circumnavigating the galaxy, so I haven't really had opportunity to collect materials, because in exploration you don't get materials that way, it's always via combat. So this is how it went down. I arrived at Jameson Memorial, I outfitted a Krait, and I realised that actually I needed to modify everything. I flew it over to Felicity and realised I didn't even have enough parts for those simple mods. There's nothing in game really to build a shopping list, so I had to use some third-party tools again to find out what I needed. I flew back to Jameson and transferred some of my engineer's railguns and plasma accelerators and set to work gathering any old rubbish in a Hazres, and that's basically some Collect Olympics just to help out with the collection. For those interested in combat, the canopy is pretty pathetic on the Krait, and as soon as your shields are down, it doesn't matter because your canopy will blow instantly, and that's first anything elite really. The other ships, you don't really need to bother about those. And this will basically you need to leave the area to go to repair. Of course the hull's going to be fine, it's just going to be a waste of 10 minutes flying through Super Cruise to go and click a button in a station to instantly repair, basically, your ship, although nothing else is broke on it. Which almost seems a bit of a pointless time sink, in what already is a waste of my time when all I want to do is fly the Krait in a non-combat loadout. So at this point I was getting pretty frustrated with the game, because I wasn't actually progressing anything. So I thought, well, the easiest way for me to collect materials is switching to my cutter. So I got my cutter out and basically parked it in the middle of a combat zone, and because it's fitted with turrets. And there's a bit of a top tip here, and this is basically having your collector limpets fitted to one of your fire buttons. And with the clever use of elastic bands, you can actually maybe, well, I'll leave you to work out the rest, and maybe I'll touch on it later. But that's all I'm going to tell you, because like that and the Magic Planet, they're all going to remain hidden from Frontier. However, those who subscribe to my channel might know what I mean. But it does highlight why small ships are just getting so obsolete recently. And this is all down to basically module proliferation. The fact is you need 7 slots to explore comfortably now. It used to be 4, Horizons came and it was 5, Neutrons came and then it was 6, and now it's 7 with an FSD booster. I started the Lemon campaign at 3303, and I remember it fondly because there was loud outcries from the beta forum folks saying it was a stupid idea. For those unfamiliar, this was basically a campaign to make the Diamondback Explorer a great explorer again, and this was by reducing its mass slightly and adding a slot. But the thought of reducing its mass and adding an extra slot was a bit of a political hot potato. Some people said the universe would explode, and some folks said you didn't need an AFMU to explore, or shield for that matter. And the truth was that neutrons were added to the game, and players actually wanted to enjoy that content in ships that they actually enjoyed flying, rather than upgrading to, or I say upgrading, but swapping to a ship that they didn't even like flying. And you know what? The proof was in what we did, because Frontier listened, and the DBX was actually great again. The smiles on people's faces and players' faces, and actually the uplift in users, not to mention the love for the DBX. There were screenshots of it everywhere because everybody wanted to fly one. Well, I say everybody. It made the Diamondback Explorer a great exploration ship again. However, it didn't break the system because, you know what, there were still better ships out there. It still had a rubbish fuel scoop, and it still took longer to get anywhere than maybe the Anaconda or the Asp Explorer. It just made it a great exploration ship, and something you can actually use in the game. And again, despite what the critics said, the Elite Dangerous Universe didn't spontaneously ignite, neither did everyone start flying it. But once again, thanks for all your support on that, Commanders, because it was a successful campaign. But fast forward 1 year, and module proliferation has returned with a vengeance. Just now it's with the FSD booster. Those of us who were loving the game have been left with hard decisions, you might say. Well, I say they're actually content blockers. I can't use the content that's been added in 3.1 unless I change my ship, and that's into a ship that I don't really like flying. So therefore, if I want to play the game the way that I want to play it, or fly my galaxy, or whatever the saying was, then I have to go through an unenjoyable experience to actually play the game. So I've got 2 decisions really. That is, 1, I must ignore the content as everybody else keeps telling me, or I should start another campaign. And that is for Frontier to bring back all the old ships that they've launched previously in line with 3304's technology. And that's so we can continue enjoying the game because in hindsight, Frontier probably should have come up with a better way of actually implementing these FSD boosters in the first place. Small ships can and should be end-ship capable. It adds diversity, and it really brings alive the me versus the galaxy feeling, rather than flying a massive spaceship which obviously needs hundreds of people to fly it. It's not the right feeling, well, for me anyway. Yes, the old argument will come back from the you don't need an extra 10 light year to explore crowd, because after all, you don't need a discovery scanner, you don't need a repair unit, you don't need shields in fact, you just need a fuel scoop according to these fools. But it makes it enjoyable to use what the game has to offer, rather than ignoring that content. Frontier of course are going to add more and more modules as we go down, and this is just a temporary fix, so to speak. And this is kind of why I'm ignoring the fact that obviously Q4 will come with an update for exploration. But as we've already seen, they always seem to ignore small ships, so we need to make them aware of it again. Because small ships and big ships are already split with what modules they can fit in terms of size. It just gives us access to that content in all ships, much like the planetary landing module was added to all ships when Horizons came. I know there's going to be hate for this idea, I know how difficult the last one was, and I know how much hate mail I got from folk who just don't like change. But you need to consider it because 1, the balance fix didn't break everything last time when we did it for the DBX. Number 2 is lots of people actually started to enjoy the DBX and, fly it. And number 3, small ships are great and they can be endgame ships. They don't just have to be a stepping stone into something else. The DBX was a great ship for a while. Sadly, it, along with others, needs thrown in the bin or bringing back in line with 3304's tech. And there's a few that I can look at from the off, and those are basically the Beluga, the Dolphin, the DBX, the DBS, the Scout. And more recently, to be honest, the Chieftains. They've just added those in the game and they're obsolete already because you need 7 modules to go out and explore. Of course, obviously, if you're doing combat, it seems just fine because they haven't gone through the same module proliferation, I don't think. And typically, combat ships tend to have either restriction modules where they can actually fit something decent, or enough modules to be able to fit enough in for combat. And that gets me onto another point, because we've got these passenger ships in the game, and you can fit whole reinforcement packages into the passenger slot, but you can't fit anything else, so they're just restricted. And we all know a Conda is actually a better passenger ship than any of the Sao Kruger ones, so why is it that a multi-purpose ship is better than something that's supposed to be good at passenger ships? It just makes no sense. So all we're asking is either consider unlocking the restricted slots to a wider audience so they can, fit exploration things or the things in there, or just give us more slots. So basically, by either giving us a slot or unlocking these restricted, it's going to make 3.1 great again. So rally with us, commanders, and stand up and make ourselves heard. We've got to fly our lemons proud again. And if you do use the forums, click the link in the description and make your voice heard, or comment below. And that is both good comments or bad comments, I don't mind. But that's just one point of 3.1 which I feel is a bit broken. Frontier's FSD boosters don't even work correctly, with high boosted jumps not working as intended. It's like no one even left the bubble to actually test these properly. There's also engineering. Wow, that's pretty harsh. The trading has helped, but the trade rate is awful, and it just means I need to get my cutter out and 2 elastic bands instead of actually playing the game and enjoying it. I'm an active explorer, and obviously if I could get materials through exploration, I wouldn't have to actively seek out these exploits, so I can just skip the nonsense and actually fly the ships I want to. Equally, if the trade system worked fairly, or I could find the materials, like I say, doing exploration, then I wouldn't need to do this. But let's be honest, they're hardly going to nerf the cutter or shield booster stacking, because it works on other ships too. And the reason I say the cutter is the easiest, and just this is the hint you need. If your ship's shields repair faster than the enemy can take them down, then with a little engineering, you can use that to your advantage. Hint, hint. And that's the biggest clue. So get your elastic bands out, Commander, and this can work while you're effectively away from the keyboard, if you know what I mean. And one final thing. When will Frontier finally fix the heat bug on the Dolphin? It's been over a year. If it were an exploit bug, it would be fixed in a day. Well, thank you for listening, Commanders, and I hope you subscribe to the channel for more. And obviously, if you do have any comments on the matter, then please put them below, or get on the forum and make your comments known and make your voice heard on that Lemon Thread campaign. Thank you.